Hello and welcome back. In this video, we want to continue to talk about loops. And the last video, we talked about the while and the do while loop. And today, we want to talk about for loop and for each loop. So our server is already on. Let's get right into it. First thing, the for loop syntax is the word for, parentheses, and then brackets. So the same like the while loop, but only with the word for. So inside the parentheses, we will write our expressions. In the while loop, we only had one expression, which is the condition. Okay, whatever is written inside the parentheses, this is called expression. In the for loop, we have three expressions, so not only one. So expression 1, then semicolon, then expression 2, then semicolon, then expression 3. Okay, so let's talk about these expressions. The first expression is the initializer, or where the code will start from. So for example, let's say x equal 0, for example. So this is where the loop will start from. The first value will be x is 0. So expression 2, this is my condition. So let's say, for example, x is smaller than 4. Okay, so as long as x is smaller than 4, the code will be running. And the third expression is the increment. Okay, so the increment operator will increase the value of x, which is 0 right now. So with every iteration, it will raise it by 1, of course. And this is my condition in the middle here. Okay, so let's go between the brackets, and this is where we write, like always, code to be executed if condition is true. So this is the code that will be executed if the condition is true. Okay, so inside here, let's echo x, just like what we did the last time. Copy from out here and paste. So we will echo the number is, and then concatenate the value of x, and we have a break to create separate lines. So let's save this, go to our browser, localhost, loops, and we didn't comment out. Let's go back. We need to comment out this one. And here. Okay, so now we have only this one loop, which is a for loop. Let's go to our browser, refresh, and now it says the number is 0, 1, 2, 3. So it counted from 0 up to 3. Let's go back. So it started from 0 because this is the initializer. This is the first value of variable x. Okay, so first when it came to loop, it found that x is 0, so it wrote it here, start from 0. Then with every iteration, it incremented 1. So x in the next loop will become 1. Then after that, 2, 3, 4. When it reached 4, the condition became not true because 4 is not smaller than 4. So this condition is not true anymore. So the loop stopped when it reached the number 4. Okay, we have another way to write these expressions. If you notice up here in the while loop, we have the same expressions. They are just not written inside the parentheses. So for example, we have x. The initializer right here is declared, right? This is the same like saying x is equal to 0. So this is my first expression, but it's written outside here. It's not written inside the while loop. Okay, and we have also the condition, which is the second expression, and the third expression is written inside the code here, which is increment x, right? So this is all the same. So in the for loop, I can take this expression, the initializer, and place it outside, for example, right here. Okay, notice that I leave the semicolon. You have to leave the semicolon even if you take it out. Okay, so let's take this one, leave the semicolon, the condition, we will not take it actually. Let's leave it here. Let's take the last one, which is the increment, and put it down here. So we did the same like we do with the while loop, right? We put the initializer up here before the loop itself, and we put the increment down here inside the loop itself. Okay, and the condition is here. The only difference is we have to keep the semicolon. So even if I take these expressions out, I still have to keep the semicolon. I cannot take the semicolon like this. Okay, if I did this, let's check what will happen. Save, go to the browser, and refresh, and you have syntax error unexpected. So you have an error because you don't have the semicolon inside the parentheses. So let's go back. So let's put our semicolon back here and here. Okay, like this. Let's check it again. Refresh, and there you go. 0, 1, 2, 3. So let's go back to our text editor. So the next thing we want to talk about is the for each loop. And the for each loop is used with arrays. So let's create an array. You don't need to worry about the array contact syntax right now. We just write it to talk about the for each. So equal, and then array, parentheses, and inside the array I want to create, for example, associative array, which is a key and equal, bigger than, and the value. Let's say Ali, age is 25, for example. I have a person and his age. Let's create a couple inside, and we have Julie, for example. Let's put Jack. So I have 25, 20, and 32, for example. So now I have a key and a value. This is something called the associative array. We don't need to worry about this right now. We will explain it all in the future. This is just so we can use the for each loop. So the for each loop have two syntax. One syntax is used with the index array, like this kind of array, the associative array, sorry, like this kind of array, and the other kind is used why we wrote cars here. Let's write, for example, friends. These are people. Okay, so the first syntax is used, like we said, with the associative array, and this syntax is written like this: for each, and parentheses, and then brackets. Inside the parentheses, we will write this expression. We will write the name of our variable or array, which is friends, the name of our array up here, and then we will write as, and then we will write key. We will write a variable called key, and then equal and bigger than value, for example. So what do we mean by all this? The key, this variable here, is these words: Ali, Julie, and Jack. So this is the key. Okay, the key is these words right here, and the value is these values right here. Okay, so this is not it's not required to write it like this, a key. I can write it any variable, for example a. Still PHP will know that this a is the key here because it's behind or before the equal sign and the bigger than. And this one as well, I don't have to write it value. I can write it just b, like this. Okay, but the best practice, or what everybody does, is key value, but you can write it any variable name as you like. So inside the for each, I will echo, for example, echo my key, and then concatenate to it a sentence. For example, Ali is, and then concatenate our value, and then concatenate years old. Okay, and then sorry, I know a lot of concatenation, and then concatenate a break. Okay, so what this will do is go to each value inside the variable, or each line of code inside the variable, like this. Okay, and take from it the key and the value, like we specify here where is the key and where is the value. Okay, so the key is Ali in this first line of code, and the value is 24. So it will say Ali is 24 years old. Okay, and then break to start the next one. Okay, the next line will be Julie is 20 years old, and like that. So let's save and go to our browser and refresh. So here you go, it says Ali is 25 years old, Julie is 20 years old, Jack is 32 years old. So this is our key right here, and this is our value. And the rest, the is and the years old and all this stuff, we wrote it as a string. So this is the key and this is the value for each one. Okay, so let's go back. So this is how you use the for each loop, but this is the syntax or the way for this specific array, which is associative array. But for another kind of array, for example, let's say I have variable food, and this variable is an indexed array. Index array is this array with values but without keys. Okay, so for example, let's say the food, I have orange, and I have banana, and I have, for example, apple. Okay, so this is my array of food, or it's not food really, let's just say fruits. Okay, so this kind of array is called index array, and this kind up here is called associative array. Like you see, they have different syntax. This one only have one value inside of it, so there's no key and value like this. Okay, so for this array we use the for each with this syntax, for each, parentheses, and then brackets. But inside the parentheses we will not write like we wrote up here. Okay, we will write, for example, the name of our variable, which is fruits, and then we will write as, but here we have no key and value, so we will write a variable name which we want this each value to be named. Okay, so we'll set a name for each one of these value, so each value will have this name in each iteration. Okay, so fruits as fruit, for example. Okay, so in the first iteration the fruit will be equal to orange because this is the first value inside the array. In the second iteration the fruit will be equal to banana. In the third iteration the fruit will be equal to apple, and if you have more values it will go on like that until it reach the last value. Okay, so next we will write what we want to write inside this. For example, echo our fruit, or let's echo I love, and then concatenate our fruit. So we will use the variable fruit, this one here, the one that get assigned each time or in each loop to a specific value. Okay, we will not use this one because this is the name of the whole array. Okay, this is the name for each value in each iteration. So fruit, and then concatenate a break, so we'll have each one in a different line. Okay, semicolon. Let's comment this out, so we'll have only our, and let's comment the for out. Okay, so now we have only this for each loop. Okay, and that's it. Let's go check it in our browser. Refresh, and here you go. It says I love orange. So orange is the very first value inside our array. I love banana after that. Banana second value. I love apple third value, and then the array finished. So the loop stopped. Okay, because this is the last value in the array. So let's go back. And this is it. Actually, there's nothing more in this lesson. We just need to know the two ways for each loop, and some information also with the for loop, how to get the expressions out and how to put them in. So we have also multiple ways to write the for loop, or different ways, but it all do the same thing. Like we said, we can put the increment as the third expression here, and we can put the initializer, which is the value we set for the variable, as the first expression here. Okay, and between each expression and the other one we have semicolon. So this is the for loop and the for each loop. I hope you understand everything, and I'll see you in the next lesson.